In this video, I'm going to break down all the key steps to how you can actually install this module properly. And this goes for any fire alarm system. The only thing that may change is the system and how you actually have to program it into the system. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first thing you want to do when you have to install a fire alarm module, you want to see where you can pick up the nearest data point. Maybe it could be from the nearest smoke detector. It could already be ran by the electrician. Whatever the case may be, if you have to run pipe, you would have to make sure you pick up the nearest point. Now, there's two types of circuit. We can have a Class A circuit or we can have a Class B circuit. A Class A circuit means that the wire will run out to the end and then it will come back all the way to the beginning, creating one entire circle. So if there's a break at any point of the system, the data will be able to flow in both directions. So that way all the devices can work without interruptions. Now, if you have a Class B circuit, that's only one wire that's running out all the way to the last device. So if you have a break in a Class B circuit, wherever that break at and anything past that will not work. So a Class A is more secure, it's more durable. If you have two opens in a Class A, it will disrupt the system. However, if you have one, the whole entire system will still work. All right, so let's get into installing this module. We have the electrician already ran this wire here for us. So respectively, we want to make sure we respect the polarity, which is red and black, positive and negative, and also the ins and outs on the module. So let's install the module. So now that we identified where our cable is at, we ran the cable or the electrician ran it for us. We know that we have devices. We're going to get in trouble because there's devices behind this cable. This wire that's going out is going to other relays and other modules that I have set up here. So the first thing you want to do is this wire is our input. It's coming from this pole station here, running all the way down to this box here. We have 4 terminals here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 and 3 will be our input. 2 and 1 will be the output. Even numbers will be positive. The positive is red, and 3 and 1, which is the negatives, will be black. So our input will go on 4 and 3, and 4 will be the red. So this is how we do it. And once we hook it up, you'll see this LED start flashing. What that means is that it's polling with the CPU. It's talking to the CPU. So now that it's flashing, and then now that it's talking to the CPU is going to be like, hey, wait a minute, this is an extra, I don't know this guy. So it's going to try to assign it a device, and it's going to say it's an unprogrammed device. So now we put the out wires on so that way we can get the relays and everything connected. So now we have our trouble. Let's go and see what's going on. Those are the troubles that's missing. And then that's the new device. It assigned it a number 13. So now once we connect the loop back, we should only drop down to 2 troubles because I don't have the batteries installed. So we have a battery trouble. So the out, make sure we go red to 2 because we want to go out to the other devices so the other devices can start to talk again, and black to 1. Once these start flashing, then the system will drop the troubles. I have a battery trouble because I don't have no batteries installed. So we have 2 troubles, and the second trouble is loop 1 device 13. So what the system did is it assigned this device number 13. So the next thing we want to do is hook up our laptop. We will need our download cable, our RS-232 card with our download cable that'll plug into, it's really a COM port, but the new laptops don't have COM ports anymore. So we have to convert it over to a USB. I use a TrinNet USB converter, plug that in USB so that way I could turn this into a COM port. That's the only way it would actually be able to talk to the fire alarm panel. So once I plug this in, I will log in level 2. And the way I do it is I go to control so that way it'll quickly prompt me to get to the password. And you can hit the right arrow or just wait for it to move over to the next column. I like to wait. So we hit 2, 2, 2, 2. And obviously the password is 4 2s. And this button right here is the enter button. So after I do that, I back out. Then I scroll down to program, hit the right arrow, scroll all the way down till I get the RS-232 enable, hit the right arrow, and then I turn it on. From that point, I'll come over to the laptop and I'll hit connect. Now it's connected. If you see the word disconnected, that means it's connected. So what I want to do from here is, this also is the same steps that I would use on an Edwards system. I'll go over to the device, especially if I'm connected to the loop controller. I'll go over to the map, and then what I'll do is I'll retrieve the data, and then I'll press close. So you know that device 13 was the new device that it added, right? So what we're going to do here is click on 13. And then we're going to select the actual, because there's 2 expectancies, right? So we have what we have actually and what we have expected. So if you pre-program this, the system is going to be expecting certain devices. If you don't pre-program it and you bring devices in, that's what's actually there. So you click on accept actual, so that way it can create instance and create this actual device on that actual address. We X out of that, close out of that. Then we go over to device configuration. Then we look for device number 13, and we're putting in a tamper switch. So a tamper switch is a supervisory signal, which is going to be non-latching. There's a latching supervisory and a non-latching supervisory. What that means is if it's latching, you will have to hit the system reset once that supervisory point goes normal. When it's non-latching, it'll reset itself. So here we want to put the description. I like to use all caps. So we go basement, sprinkler room, tamper 2. We verify that the serial number, the last 4 is 8227, because we know that. So once we close this, we don't have to do any correlations because supervisories don't activate any outputs. However, if you have a home training system, you can have your supervisory activate the NAC circuits, relays, and things like that. But we're not going to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this, and then we're going to go back over to communication. And being that we're still connected, we're going to write to the panel. Write to panel is complete. We close that. We're going to stay connected. And what we want to do is we want to verify that that device is actually programmed into the system. All we have is our battery trouble and our program mode because we still have the communication open. So now that means our device is actually programmed in. And if we was actually connected to a tamper switch, what we would do is open up the valve so that way that switch can go closed. And then this module will go into alarm. But what we're going to do is just use a screwdriver so we can short out the terminals here. So now that we have the device installed, the next thing I like to do is go back to the system, and I made the changes to the fire alarm system. I usually go to tools, status, and diagnostics, same as the Edwards system. And I just want to make sure that the system had mapped. All of the devices are talking. I have 7 out of 7, 49 out of 49, 150 out of 100, however many devices, everything should equal out. So what I'll do here is everything is good. The mapping is good because it's actually building a map, and I'm going to show you what that map is. So we're going to close that. We're going to go to devices. So when it's mapping, it's literally building out a map. So once we install the devices, the next step after that is I want to retrieve the data. I want to pull up the actual data that's coming off the loop controller so that way it can give me my map of what devices I have in front and behind each other. The yellow mean is just a quick warning that the label had changed. Maybe I could have went from uppercase to lowercase, whatever the case may be. But you could quickly fix that by right-clicking on that and then just saying accept it. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave that as is. So we have our 7 devices installed. We'll close it. We could actually go over to communication, and then we could disconnect from the fire alarm panel. So now what we have to do next is we have to test our fire alarm device. So what we do here is, being that we don't have a real tamper switch, I'm going to just short this out. And once I remove the screwdriver, it's going to stop beeping. That's non-latching. That's how a self-resettable point works. So now that you know how to install, test, and program a fire alarm module, which is the same for any fire alarm device, if you want to take your knowledge further, I have a free fire alarm training academy. Visit my website and sign up for the free fire alarm training. It's 100 slots I'm letting in free. Slots is going fast. I have about 25 left. All the information is in the descriptions below. Appreciate you for watching. Fire alarm expert out. Peace.